Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at a really fascinating idea. It could sort of change how you understand, well, pretty much everything in your life. Imagine if all your experiences, the music you're drawn to, maybe a funny feeling you get, imagine they're all actually valuable bits of information.
Like data points.
Exactly, data points pointing towards your own growth, your soul's journey. It's a way of looking at things that really encourages curiosity, and kindness towards yourself.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how it shifts things. We often just see stuff as random, don't we? Or unconnected.
Right, coincidences.
Exactly. But what if, like our sources suggest, we approached ourselves more like love detectives, carefully noticing the clues, the little things in everyday life.
Love detectives, I like that.
Yeah. These clues, they help us understand our deeper nature, our more expansive self, and see beyond just chance.
Yeah, totally. Now, I know for many people listening that search for deeper meaning, it can feel like a lot sometimes. Right?
Oh, absolutely. It can be overwhelming.
There's just so much out there. So what we want to do today is maybe offer a more practical way, a framework to make sense of your own unique experiences without it feeling like too much.
Okay.
So let's unpack this whole idea of everything is data. What does that really mean?
Well, at its heart, it's about seeing everything, what you're drawn to, what you resist, your emotions, even physical feelings as carrying information, important information.
Right.
Think about a song you just can't get out of your head, or maybe a food you're really craving. These aren't just random whims. They could offer insights into, say, your emotional state right now, or what you might need energetically, maybe even echoes of past stuff. The key thing is to approach them with, genuine curiosity. Like a detective picking up a lead, not judging it, just noticing.
And the sources we looked at talk about these insights as breadcrumbs, which I think is such a great metaphor.
It really is.
These little hints, these signs.
Yeah.
They might seem tiny on their own, but they're actually being offered by your higher self, maybe. Different aspects of your soul, guiding you sort of step by step back towards remembering who you really are.
It's like you're piecing together your own personal puzzle.
Yes. And each experience, each feeling, it's a potential piece of that puzzle.
And this really bumps up against what the sources call 3D conditioning.
Okay, what's that?
That sort of ingrained belief in coincidences, which comes from focusing mainly on the physical world, what our senses tell us.
Right. Things just seem random from that viewpoint.
Totally. But when you connect it to the bigger picture, the soul's journey, like your materials suggest, well, you start seeing connections everywhere.
Oh, okay.
There's a kind of purposefulness, even in the really tough experiences. And this idea of amnesia and soul forgetting is pretty profound, too.
How so?
The idea that maybe, on some level, we chose to forget our bigger nature, to really dive deep into this 3D experience, fully immerse ourselves.
Wow. Okay, so if we're going to embrace this love detective inside us, what does that actually look like? Day to day? What are the key traits of this inner investigator?
Well, curiosity is definitely number one. A genuine, open-minded curiosity about, everything you encounter.
Not judging, just curious.
Exactly. And it's also about being willing to question things, your assumptions, but from a soul perspective.
Okay.
It's not about constant doubt, more like being open to new interpretations, deeper meanings in what you experience. And importantly, it involves a willingness to let go. Letting go of beliefs or patterns that just don't serve your soul's expression as love anymore.
That makes a lot of sense. It's less about harsh judgment and more about gently asking questions, isn't it?
Precisely.
And it sounds like this whole perspective could really shift how we handle challenges, especially moving beyond that feeling of being a victim of circumstance.
Absolutely. If we start to consider that maybe on a soul level, we've had a hand in choosing our experiences, even the difficult ones, as some sources propose, it shifts everything. You move from feeling like life is just happening to you to recognizing these things might be happening for your growth.
Okay, that's a big shift.
It is. The love detective sees the value, the potential learning in every single experience. No matter how tough it seems right then, it's like you're building a case for your soul's journey, finding those clues about how your soul is always trying to communicate.
And the sources really drive home that our souls are always communicating, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's not like we have to wait for some huge sign.
Not at all. The communication is constant. It just shows up in different ways.
How so?
Sometimes it's really subtle, like a little nudge, a fleeting thought, an intuition. Other times, as one source playfully puts it, Your soul might feel like it's being pretty direct, shouting almost.
Oh, okay.
The real key is developing our ability to listen, to actually feel and take in these messages however they show up.
Right, tuning in. Let's make this a bit more concrete. One theme that came up in the materials was career dissatisfaction. That's pretty common.
Very common, yeah.
So say you're feeling really disconnected from your job. It just doesn't feel like you. How does this love detective approach that based on the sources?
Okay, so instead of just focusing on, I need to leave,
Yeah.
the love detective asks different questions like, what is this current job actually reflecting about my inherent gifts, my soul gifts?
Okay. Even in a job you don't like.
Especially then, maybe.
Yeah.
What parts of my true nature are actually trying to come through, even in this environment that feels wrong?
Interesting.
One of the sources gives this great example. A salesperson. They start approaching their work differently with way more empathy, really trying to tune into what customers actually need.
Okay.
And this shift, this more, soul-aligned way of doing the job, it actually leads to good things.
Yeah.
Recognition, maybe even new opportunities like management potential.
Wow. So even in a role that doesn't feel like the final destination, your natural talents can still pop up and be really valuable.
Exactly. And like the sources point out, maybe that specific job isn't the long-term thing. But the way they started engaging with it, that reveals vital clues about their core abilities.
Such as?
Maybe being a natural healer through their empathy. Or a teacher because they explain things clearly. Or a guide. It gives them really solid information for what comes next.
Yeah, it reframes the whole experience. It's not just something to endure. It's a source of self-discovery.
Precisely. It's data.
Okay, another really interesting area the materials covered is physical symptoms. Things often linked to personal or spiritual growth. Lots of people talk about this stuff. Ascension symptoms and the like.
Yes, that comes up a lot.
How does the love detective lens look at those kinds of symptoms?
Well, the common thing can be to just lump them all together, right? Oh, it's just the ascension process without looking any closer.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The love detective encourages a more specific investigation. Instead of just that general label, the question becomes, what are these specific symptoms trying to tell me about my body right now?
Ah, okay. More personal.
Yes. What emotions might be tied up in this? How is my energy maybe shifting? What's the unique message here for me?
So digging deeper than just the general explanation and really investigating what's going on for you personally.
Exactly. The sources suggest things like quiet reflection, maybe visualization, even journaling, connecting with your body's own wisdom. Instead of only looking for external answers or comparing notes with everyone else, you turn inwards first to understand your messages.
And the idea is that just paying attention, acknowledging what your body's saying can sometimes bring relief or even help resolve things.
Often, yes. Listening can be incredibly powerful.
That feels like a really empowering shift, moving from feeling like your body's just doing weird stuff to you to seeing it as a source of vital information.
It really is.
And the underlying message seems to be about giving yourself permission to explore these connections.
Absolutely. One of the sources talks about their own approach, just viewing absolutely everything as data, really living this love detective way. It's about nurturing that natural curiosity we all have and trusting that our own experiences hold valuable insights just for us.
And there was a personal example in there too, wasn't there? About dealing with recurring sinus issues. I think loads of people can relate to those persistent things that just seem to linger or come back.
Yes, exactly. The typical 3D approach might just be, oh, it's allergies. Label it. Maybe take something for it. End of story.
Right. Manage the symptom.
But the love detective approach, as described, asks, okay, what else might this congestion be connected to on a deeper level? What's it trying to communicate across all parts of me? Physical sensations, yeah, but also emotion, thoughts, how I'm relating to people, my energy centers maybe.
So looking across all the different bodies, physical, emotional, mental.
It's a ritual chakra.
Yeah.
Feeling into all of it. And the interesting thing is, this process of self-inquiry, even if it doesn't give you one neat answer straight away, it always seems to reveal connections to personal growth. It might lead to more questions initially, but it opens up that deeper understanding, feeling beyond just the surface label.
Okay, I see. It's about that willingness to explore beyond the obvious explanation.
Yes. And that willingness, as the sources highlight, is what unlocks more magic, more healing, more love in your life. It moves us out of being passive observers of our lives and into being active participants in our own arising, our embodiment.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the core idea that really resonates is this.
Yeah.
You actually have this innate ability already.
You do.
The ability to understand the messages your soul is sending through your everyday life. It's about embracing that love detective within you
Yeah.
and just approaching your life with a fresh sense of curiosity and, importantly, self-compassion.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider.
Okay.
What's one experience in your life right now, something you're currently navigating? Could you start to explore that from this love detective perspective? What initial clues might already be there, just waiting, if you allow yourself to look with that curious, loving attention?